Hello, and welcome to the Superintendent Effect, a podcast where we highlight strong leaders building strong communities. I'm Ann Brown, your host, and I'm the president and CEO of the Cook Center for Human Connection. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Dr. Jill Gildea, former superintendent of Park City School District and current CEO of Colorado Early Colleges. Welcome, and thanks for being here today, Jill.
Thanks so much, Ann. It's great to be here.
I'm always excited to talk to you. Jill was the superintendent of my hometown, which is Park City, Utah, and did some amazing, amazing work in Park City. So thank you for your service there. And now I know you're working with Colorado Early Childhood, or excuse me, Colorado Early Colleges, which is a charter school system. Tell me kind of the difference in working in public school versus a charter system.
Yes, so it's really interesting. I always wondered whether or not it was true that charters could be more innovative or maybe move a little faster. But what I do find is that the public charter school is following the same regulations, right? We're under the same sort of regulatory environment as a traditional public school district. But one of the differences, believe it or not, is real estate. It's really having to figure out whether you're purchasing or leasing a building and, really working in that arena, which is different. As a traditional public school district superintendent, you're working with the community on bonds and things to build a school or to renovate a school, which we actually finished while I was in Park City. And that really was an amazing accomplishment. We have beautiful early learning centers at every school now. And we also designed for the kids and to provide access to universal preschool. And we built a wonderful CTE center, which is actually what got me out to Colorado because I wanted to see if we could replicate that really cool experience for students.
Well, I hope you can, because what's happening at the Park City Tech Center is just mind blowing. So thank you for that work. And I'm sorry that we don't still have you here working for our kids, but I know you're always a champion for kids everywhere. So thank you. Hey, I always like to hear about your path to the superintendency. I marvel at how much education superintendents have and your path to get there and all of your experience. And I always kind of put it up against medical experiences is in medicine. I know you have a son who's a doctor as well, but in medicine, you go to 4 years of college and 4 years of medical school, and then you do your residency, and then you do your fellowship. And truthfully, superintendents are doing that level of work. So I'd love to hear your journey.
Thanks. Yeah, it has been that for sure. So I spent 11 years as a classroom teacher in room 402 at Lincoln Junior High School. And I really believed I was going to be, the teacher in room 402 my entire career. And then just different things happen, right? Different things happen through your journey, your career journey. And I had a principal basically kind of tap me on the shoulder and say, I think you'd be really great in leadership. And by that point, I had written advisory curriculum. I had written, served on a lot of district committees and interview committees. So I knew the superintendent. And so these are people that became, strong mentors for me. And I always had just that internal desire to earn a doctorate. So I knew that I wanted to do that, but I did not know or did not plan, to go into administration at all. So I did end up leading a large department in a large high school and English department. So that kind of became my dream job. And I thought I would do that forever. And then I became an elementary principal and I loved that job. And I thought I would do that job forever. And while I was an elementary principal and curriculum director and finishing a doctorate, that was when the superintendent of the district I was working at the time said, you really should look into being a superintendent leader. And I said, oh, Mr. Carby, I just completed my doctorate and I did that in curriculum and supervision and organizational development, but I did not get the superintendent endorsement. So right after I completed my doctorate, I went back for 2 more years of education to complete the superintendent licensure. So that was quite an educational journey, and it happened, over different decades. But my most fun memory is that I began my doctoral studies when my third child was about 5, had a fourth baby, and then completed the doctorate, the paperwork and the studies while she was in the paper, as a baby playing and pulling apart my different Post-it notes and things. So I have that image, squarely in mind whenever I think about that work. But having the kids at that graduation ceremony, was really meaningful. And then earning that, terminal degree along with that extra fellowship, so to speak, was really cool. And then again, I never thought I would actually use that. I thought maybe just to be a substitute superintendent while Mr. Carby was out of town. But, it did lead me into the pathway of having someone say, hey, I think you'd be really good at this. So I ended up as a rural superintendent. And then that was a really great experience.
So you've been a superintendent in Illinois. You've been in 3 states, right? Illinois, no, 4 states now.
Most of my career was Illinois, and I started in a small rural one school district, 500 students, 4 school buses, and learned how to do everything, right? So you do the finance, you do the transportation directing, the food service, the professional learning, all the things. It was just a principal, a bookkeeper, an admin assistant, and me. We were the entire admin team. And at that point, we were like driving around board packets on Sundays to the board members' homes. We would
Yeah.
make a little binder every week or every month. So that was really something. And again, once that system, within 3 years, we improved the reading scores so much that the high school did not need a remedial reading course anymore. So we were
Wow.
able, so seeing that sort of improvement that was recognized at the state level, which then led to some recruitment offers from a larger district. So then I ended up in a slightly larger district, stayed there for about 7 years. And during that time, that's when you and I met Anne. That was when I was working on personalized learning and coming and really just doing national research and site visits and doing everything we could. And we transformed that system into a personalized learning environment. So that was really exciting to see the kids thrive. And that was a consolidated school district. It was 13 different communities fed
Wow.
into this school system. And so they went to 3 different high school systems when they left us. So we had to prepare across all, areas. And so that was really a great experience. And because of my work in personalized learning, that led to my opportunity in Greenwich, Connecticut, which was amazing. That's kind of like a dream district, that so high achieving. And so that was really fun experience. And then I think due to that experience, that's what kind of led me to Park City. So I've been able to do that personalized learning sort of journey. This whole part of my superintendency has really been about personalized learning. And this program that I'm a part of now designs the entire early college experience around the student. So this was something that I had already always hoped could happen and would happen. So it's really fun to see that at scale.
Well, it's fun to hear you talk about this because I know, you're looking to the future with Colorado early colleges, but also just recently, Park City was the top third grade reading score in the entire state of Utah. And, that doesn't happen in the year you've been gone. That happens in the 5 years or 8 years or whatever you were there. So, um, do you want to talk about some of the innovation in the reading that you did there?
Yeah, it absolutely did. And it did take some time, right? It did take some time, but Park City had a lot of, and I'm sure even when Zach was in school, there you saw evidence of this. There's a really strong advocacy around reading, which is wonderful. It's great to see a community come together around that need and trying to really bolster that. But what had happened is when I arrived, things had kind of maxed out. You can only do so much with a basal reader or so much with a scripted program. And so when the whole science of reading research started coming out and Utah did accept the idea of doing some more investment in teacher education around reading, and we did receive the support of the advocacy groups through the community to pursue that strongly, we really ended up transforming how kids are doing literacy acquisition, in the Park City schools. Now, of course, you kind of heard the other part of the story. We started the universal access to preschool. That's a huge win, right? Getting kids to have school readiness. And then just having these more, again, individualized touch points as to ways you can really help bolster and improve kids' scores. But that's really probably my proudest moment is by the time I left Park City, every school scored within the top 15, several of them in the top 5 in the state in academic attainment scores. And we know that those are going to continue because it's through the depth of the professional learning that happened, right? That really supported that change.
Well, that's amazing. And And, the other thing is really the support of the parents in both of these systems. I mean, all systems. Colorado early colleges being able to have parents choose their school and choose to have their kids in these systems. And I know that Park City parents are very invested in their child's education. Um, but you also are a huge advocate for parents. And I want to tell a little story on you. And it's this: when I started with the Cook Center in 2020, we had this idea that a lot of people were supporting the children when it came to mental health. But we really felt that what we wanted to do was help the parents be able to support their child's mental health, because we were dealing with access issues. People couldn't get to appointments. We were dealing with availability issues, that even if they could physically get there, they weren't available for 3 to 6 months. We were dealing with affordability issues. We were dealing with stigma issues, acceptability issues. And so as we were doing our research, one of the things that we thought is, if we could support parents so that they could support their child's mental health, then we could give every child one-on-one support for their mental health. And I actually said this to you while we were sitting at a dinner one day. And I said, "What do you think of that?" And you said, "If you can do that, that is some of the most important work we can do. Please do that." And that really, you were the first person in education that I went to and said, "What do you think of this idea?" And it was an idea, it was a whiteboard idea at that time. And you really gave us the confidence to continue to move forward. And I know, Park City has been a Cook Center advocate for a long time, but you were a personal advocate. And I just really want to thank you for that. But do you want to talk for a minute about the importance of parents and their mental health?
Thank you, Anne. I mean, I remember that. I remember when you launched this, and look at how it's grown. It's really
Thank
impressive,
you.
and I'm really so proud of everything that you guys have accomplished. It's been fun, right? It's been fun to watch and to experience. And one of the things at Park City, in adopting this programming, and started just with the parent guidance medallion, that was great. We got our counselors to look at that, know what was in the sort of the toolkit online. And then from there, we were able to move into parent coaching, which again, parent education is just such a key, because again, as a parent, you sometimes are stuck. And we were doing all the things that you're supposed to do, right? We were having the how to prevent bullying seminar, and we were having the what to do if your child is a bully seminar, but nobody wants to come to those, right? And sit in the room and either be acknowledging that your child's being picked on, or that they are being the person who's, being mean. So finding these online resources, right? You made this so available, accessible, easy to use, and it gave the parents just the right um, impetus, or just the right in the moment, what they could do immediately, and then a little bit of a support for the next step. So then when we were able to add coaching, honestly, I don't know how any school district, once you have parent coaching, how you could ever go back and not, because it's something that runs parallel, but it's something that at some point the counselor can say, I think, maybe we could provide another bit of help here. And you can even provide that more broadly. You can make this more widely available for parents to access. So it's really an amazing, amazing service that really didn't, there was nothing like it. There
Yeah.
was
Well,
nothing like it.
honestly, without that dinner and you sitting there, I mean, you're a key impetus to us continuing down a path that really didn't exist before. So thank you so much for that and that support, and that has helped thousands and thousands of families since then. You
So,
talked a little bit about some of your mentors, and I know you've been a mentor to others. What kind of advice would you give to a new superintendent after your years plus 4 different states and all of that? How
you
would
know,
you?
it's so funny. And when you're at that, do you remember when you sat in a bachelor's program, right? You sat in your college classes and you would watch the professor, and they would kind of talk, and they wouldn't need the book or anything, right? They would just kind of talk. And I was always kind of in awe, like, how do they know all these things? And all of a sudden, I'm at that stage of my career where I'm like, wow, I can talk without the book. I can now give advice, but it is funny because over the years you kind of come up with like the little things, right? Like little sayings. So, whatever it takes has always been kind of a little saying on my board, even when I was a teacher, right? Whatever it takes to help the student and surround yourself with, surround the care and support around the child, right? Whatever you can do. So whatever it takes. My other thing I always tell people with administration, there's so much paperwork, right? So if you just remember during the day, people first, the rest can wait. That I think as a new leader or a new system leader is something that I wish I would have known. And then my latest one that I've been just drumming into my own head is ABC, alignment, balance, and consistency. Because I think when we're well aligned as a system, alongside our community, with our community, we keep things in balance. We don't go too extreme on anything, right? We just try to stay focused and then really consistent. That's how we are getting the results that you saw, that you see now in Park City, right? It was that really consistent effort over time has now yielded those great results.
Oh, I love that. ABC, something simple that people can remember. What's your proudest accomplishment during your time as a superintendent?
Yeah, so many things, right? So it's so many things. I've loved my career. I feel very fortunate to have had these amazing opportunities. I never imagined myself in different places. So to have this opportunity to see how different states operate and how different systems operate is really a gift. So it's seeing, I'm in awe of what educators do every day. I'm in awe of what principals, are doing every day. I'm in awe of the children that come in and the things they know at such a young age. I mean, we're really just seeing such a fun, transformative time, right now. But I do think it's that design around a kiddo. Like whenever you can design systems and supports around a student, and then you can see the results of that, those are the proudest, I think, accomplishments.
Yeah, I love the personalized learning. You've always been such an innovative learner. That's actually how we met, was when we were both really focused on personalized learning. And I've always seen you as that innovative leader. So kids are really lucky when they have you at the helm. What's one thing people don't know about you?
Oh, this is funny. And there are things you probably know because you've known me for a long time. But the one way that I really take a break from education, and my husband was laughing at me the other day because he said, "Oh my gosh, you would still like geek out and go like look at schools just for fun." I'm like, I know, I love schools. If there's ever like a hotel that's a former school, I always look for like an old school to stay in, but always music. So my one break is really music, live music. So whether, any kind of music really, but I definitely am a music geek. So,
Oh, cool. What's your favorite? Or what's some of your favorites? I guess you have a lot, but
oh my goodness, I have so many. So I have so many. So I do love vacations that center around music as well. So I'm about to go on an Andrew McMahon wilderness cruise at the end of
oh,
next month. But I love the Goo Goo Dolls. Probably John Resnick is probably my all-time favorite songwriter.
all right. I'll have to look up a Goo Goo Dolls song. I've heard the band. I just can't think of a song. That's how not cool I am. But
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, and they've been around for a long time now, so they're kind of like classics. Like
I'm sure I'll know them when I hear them.
yeah,
But
I knew he
yeah.
was a classic when he played on the New Year's Rockin' Eve this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What gives you hope for the future?
Oh my gosh, students give me hope for the future. Yesterday, I had the chance to be with a group of educators who had some students come in that are part of the DECA program. So they were
Oh,
talking about business and education and real life experiences. In Colorado in particular, I'm really, really excited about Colorado's Big Three, which is basically encouraging students to complete some college access type courses while they're in high school, or in an industry credential, and ensure that you have some work experience, internships and externships. And so I think that's encouraging because it's transforming high school, right? It's changing from kind of a static experience to more of an interactive, engaging experience. And so I'm excited about that. Yeah, so many things when
some
you
kind of
get.
an early childhood or early college thing happening in high school, which is so
Mhm.
great. That's amazing. Well, I know any place you go is lucky to have you being their strong leader, building their strong community. And so thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm excited for what the future holds and future holds for you and, for your whole school system. So thanks.